in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Welcome back. It is Tuesday at 12:15. We are slightly late today. That's okay. But if you are joining me, you are here to talk about PGH 2050. This is our Planning with a Purpose podcast, a weekly live stream hosted by myself and community builder Muffy Mendoza, who is here with me on my computer for those on Facebook. Muffy, how are you doing today?
I'm a, hmm, that's an interesting question.
Hmm.
Let's save it for later. Ask me how I'm doing at the end when we're done.
I can do that. If you are here with us, like I said, it is every Tuesday at 12 that you are with myself and Muffy Mendoza with our Planning with a Purpose podcast. Every Tuesday, we try to bring, and we do bring city leaders, everyday residents, thought partners to the table to break down Pittsburgh's comprehensive plan, share stories from across communities, and highlight why inclusive planning, city planning matters for the future. We stream live here on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and each episode invites listeners to learn, engage, and imagine a sustainable, thriving Pittsburgh, one conversation at a time. So, listen, y'all, I don't usually go live on Facebook, I don't usually go live on my social media, but I do feel like this is a cause for us to go live. So, for those of you that don't know, and for those that do know, the city of Pittsburgh is engaging in a comprehensive plan that will help us lay out what visioning and what recommendations we want as city residents to see for the future of Pittsburgh from now to 2050. We are now more than two-thirds of the way through the PGH 2050 process. Much of the research, the engagement, and preliminary recommendations have already been completed. The contract is in its final stretch. We're 8 months away from the finish line, so you can imagine what 8 months looks like out of 2 years of engagement. We're all excited for a lot of work and a lot of creativity to kind of come to fruition in this awesome product. And now is typically when cities deepen engagement and not disrupt it.
Hmm.
And at this stage, most cities would be preparing to refine recommendations and not reconsider the entire process. And that's where we are with the City of Pittsburgh's 2050 comprehensive plan. The same city council members who voted for this process, who voted for the funding, who voted on which folks would be a part of this process, who would lead it, who would lead the engagement, have proposed legislation to cancel the contract, to
Yep.
cancel the PGH 2050 contract, citing concerns about cost, impact, and progress.
Hmm.
And I know, and if you guys, if not you guys, if you all want to listen to this and tune in and figure out uh, where you can hear more about this, there was a 3-hour post agenda hearing last week on November 10th talking about this whole entire thing, and you can watch it for yourself. Muffy and I are coming here today to talk about why that would be devastating for the city, for this a city that we feel that a lot of people feel is in need of some real awesome progress that can happen at the hands of residents. And so council members have proposed legislation to cancel the comprehensive plans contract. We're about 8 months away from finishing our work. Um,
Not to mention, hundreds of hours in community engagement have already been completed.
yeah, Yeah, hundreds of hours. I think there have been conversations about funding. And while it is true that we have to pay our technical advisors, and while it is true we have to pay our community engagement specialists, whatever you want to call them, strategic partners, network partners, funding has also gone directly into paying community members. It has gone directly into paying community led organizations, and it
Hmm.
has gone directly into paying community working groups. And those people also help us get the word out about what's going on in the engagement model. And so it's not just three primary engagement folks doing all of the work. We have deployed little partners to help us do this work as well. And so I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit confused um, by this pushback, and I'm feeling a little bit also energized by asking what we can do what we can ask our constituents and our network members to do, and really want to express gratitude to the people who have participated in the process thus far. Want to really express thanks to the people who have tabled, who have attended events, who have put their little stickies on boards, who have sat at a table around with people that they don't know to talk about air and water and streets and bike lanes and what they love about their neighborhood and what's nostalgic about their neighborhoods and what they want to see for the future. I don't think any of us take those small interactions in vain. And so I I'm just curious, Muffy, what's going on here?
Um, for me, unfortunately, this feels like par for the Pittsburgh course. I've, I was very hesitant to get involved at the onset of this because I don't like politics, right? I am a person I'm very community driven. I'm very love driven. I'm a person who likes to help people. And I think oftentimes politics takes us outside of that frame and forces us to be more strategic, to be, harder, and to be more front line and bottom line about everything. And so I was very hesitant to get involved in the PGH 2050 process. But the reason I got involved was because LaTrenda communicated to me, Common Cause communicated to me that this will be a community driven plan, and that our job as community engagement consultants was to help get community voices at the forefront of political movement. And so that is what drew me to it. Whether we were deploying the community working group and helping folks get signed up for the community working group, helping people to understand what it meant to be a part of a political process in which we're developing a comprehensive plan, understanding that Pittsburgh has not had a comprehensive plan since 1920. Yes, your neighborhood plan is beautiful. It does many, many things, but it is not a comprehensive plan for the entire city of Pittsburgh. And so when I came to understand those things and came to understand the depth of community engagement that we were going to try to do, I'm like, okay, let me get involved. Only to listen to a 3-hour meeting where council people basically said, we don't want to be told what to do by people.
Right. And I think we need to go back a step because I think you mentioned some points here that are important. Pittsburgh hasn't had a comprehensive plan in over 100 years. That is important. It's an ever growing, ever shifting city. We have a really strong identity that no longer works for us, right? That we are associating ourselves with, which is being steel titans of the world. And so how have we stopped and say, okay, we need to pivot and we need to go here as industries fall and rise? And how have we stopped and relocated ourselves or reallocated ourselves or repositioned ourselves for growth that is aligned with the future? And so that's one point. The second point is there are some neighborhoods, I think 5, I think your council members noted this. There are at least 5 neighborhoods that have neighborhood plans.
Right.
That means that there are folks out there who are energized enough in those neighborhoods, who have time enough in those neighborhoods, who have the resources enough in those neighborhoods to galvanize themselves, to find funding, to work alongside political leaders and get a neighborhood plan that works for their neighborhoods. But that's 5 out of 90 neighborhoods.
90, right. And so we have to begin to ask ourselves within the city of Pittsburgh what type of deficit we're actually working at with no plan for the
And,
rest of the city.
and the comprehensive plan will take this blanket look at the city and kind of help us establish or recommend established values for how we want to use land, for how we want to develop, for where we want to see art, for where we want to see culture thrive, for how we want to see our neighborhoods thrive.
For how we want the basic stuff. How do we want to get around our neighborhoods? Where
Right.
do we want to ensure that we have climate ready buildings and homes and infrastructure? Like, this is basic stuff. And we have a city council who does not want to hear from the people that are being affected.
Right.
Like, how is that the mainstream?
And I think what you would hear from people is that we don't want the same tactics
Right.
that were used to drive neighborhoods apart, that drove neighborhoods into poverty, that drove neighborhoods into a thriving state. I mean, a surviving state instead of a thriving state. Neighborhoods like Manchester, neighborhoods like the Hill District, where urban renewal tactics and art were used as ways to split neighborhoods apart, slapping highways through neighborhoods, building structures that don't benefit the neighborhood. We need comprehensive plans that help the city say these are our values as it pertains to what everyone says, and we are going to take these recommendations seriously. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why we're choosing to be intentionally obtuse about that.
Right, right. And I think I'm at the point where I just, I'm not sure how Pittsburgh moves forward without this. Or let me say this, I'm very sure of how it will move forward. We know how it will move forward. Our city council recently voted 5-4 that there would be no affordable housing, that developers would not be required to have affordable housing. And so we know how it will move forward. We know that, again, and I'm going to post a link in the comments for the meeting where you can see the city council's reaction, or some of the city council members' reaction, or desire to terminate the plan. I'm going to post a link in the comments so y'all can watch it. But I think we do know how the city will move forward. It will move forward as it is currently moving forward. It will move forward with more gentrification. It will move forward with continued tension around our transportation. It will move forward with less affordable housing, or with no improvements in the affordable housing space. And so at this point, it's like I'm a longtime resident of Pittsburgh. I've lived in Pittsburgh my entire life mostly. And it's not very often we that I have ever gotten to see our elected officials. And it was very disheartening to me to go to many of these community events and not see any elected officials. And I think, again, it's par for the course. And I'm just not sure that Pittsburgh can live up to its ideal of being livable for everyone without a plan that is being voiced by the people. And at this point, I feel that this motive is very not only anti people, but anti Black people. Because I would be remiss if I didn't mention that many of the folks who are informing this plan are Black people, are Black women.
Mm.
Many of the folks who have always led community work in the city of Pittsburgh are Black women. And it just seems that this is all an affront to Black people, and not wanting to be told what to do by community members.
Hmm. And I also think along those lines is I don't think Pittsburgh has a history of following the voices of people. Industry has led a lot of the migration pattern that we see in the region, whether it's from steel, understanding that because of the industry, the way our houses are built, the way our streets are, the way our roads are, right? And then you swap that out for meds and eds, you swap that out for institutions, you swap that out for CMU and Penn and Carlo and Rob and all of these schools, but we never swapped it out for, well, we stopped in this 20-year period and assessed what the people need and what the people enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wonder why we are so critical of something we've never done before.
Right. And isn't this a wonderful opportunity to have that experience? Isn't, you know, during the meeting that we all watched, there was one mention that in one neighborhood there had been 27 opportunities to hear community voice. Wouldn't that have been a wonderful opportunity for our local politicians to come out and hear what community members need and listen to what community members want a Pittsburgh in 2050 to look like? And yet, and still, we're having conversations about terminating a contract for work that you haven't even had the opportunity to experience.
Mm.
How is that a thing? How are you trying to terminate a contract and you are asking questions about the engagement that is happening in your own community. You shouldn't have to ask questions because you should know, because you should be there, because this is a job that requires, city council is not a state representative. City council is a community driven job. You should be in the community. If there is community engagement happening, you should be a part of said community engagement. And I don't understand how you have to ask questions about something that is happening in a neighborhood that you purport to care about. That doesn't make sense to me.
What are we asking the people to do? We're asking y'all, I'm going to take a stop in a moment. If you're in here with us, if you're on my live, you're talking about the City of Pittsburgh Comprehensive Plan, PGH2050.com. Council has legislation on the floor to terminate the contract, and we are about 8 months, less than a year, 8 months, hallelujah, out from completing that work. That means we're about 2/3 of the way done with that work. What can you do? We need y'all. If y'all need my email, if you need Muffy's email, we need y'all to reach out via email, phone call to your council person. We need y'all to show up to next week's council meeting and do some and provide some public comment. Because if you are talking about fumbling social capital, if you are talking about further fracturing the relationship between city members and the city, this is one of those things that happens. This is one of those things that causes those disruptions in relationship building. Because let's just say you do terminate the contract. There will be a lot of people who are going to ask us, well, what did we do with the information that we gave you?
Exactly.
What did you do with the time that we gave you? What did you do with the effort that we gave you? The energy that it took for us to care? Where does all of that go? And there will be more plans in the future where you need more input and where you need more surveys and where you need those same people to show up and show out. But if we fumble them this way, we are saying to them, we're okay with further fracturing the relationship that you already have with us. If it is difficult to reach members in your own community, it's going to be difficult for us to do it too, because we've never done this before. Why don't Black people get the opportunity to fail up? Why don't Black people get the opportunity to fail forward? Why don't Black people get the opportunity to fumble through?
Not to mention that we have reached over 25,000 people and the goal was 30.
It doesn't matter. They don't believe it. They don't believe that tabling is enough. It was said tabling is not an effective community engagement advice.
But let's keep it all the way 100.
The stickies don't matter. The number of clicks on the websites don't matter. The numbers, they don't matter. They don't believe it. And so how do we get people to believe this thing that we're so blatantly doing? It doesn't matter, Muffy. No, it doesn't matter that we said we reached 20,000 people. There are people out there who don't believe it. It doesn't matter. So tabling, youth working group, community working groups, ambassadors, 3 sets of consultants doing engagement work, summer of engagement opportunities, giving out money, 90-1, surveys, the Planning with a Purpose podcast. I mean, we're trying to be in a lot of places at once. Help us.
Right.
Get to the common goal of progressive ideology for all of Pittsburgh. You said 5 neighborhoods have neighborhood plans. 5 out of 90? 5 out of 90? And we're trying to talk about one Pittsburgh. There is a conversation about if we terminate these contracts, the City of Pittsburgh 2050, PGH2050.com, they want to terminate the contracts to redirect the rest of those funds to buy city vehicles.
To do what?
To buy vehicles for the city, to buy equipment for the city. That might last you about 10 years, but we're still talking about 2050.
And we're still talking about a city without a plan.
And we're still talking about a city without a plan. What's the plan? When you get into a relationship with anybody, we got to sit down and we go, what's the plan? Where are we going from here? What are we doing together? How are we growing and glowing? What's next?
If you're in a relationship with someone,
If
but
you're in a
you
relationship
must
with
be
someone,
in a relationship to have that idea.
we are trying to build those bridgeways to relationship. We are trying to build those bridges to relationship that the city then has to maintain. Let me say this also. The comprehensive plan is not a document that is going to tell any city department head what to do. It is a document of recommendations based on the extensive amount of engagement, the extensive amount of research done by the technical team, the extensive amount of work done by folks that took a comprehensive look at the history of the city and spoke comprehensively to the neighbors of the city and said, this is what we heard. And so here are these set of recommendations when you move forward with the progress of your city that can help guide you based on what the people said they need and that they want. That is all the comprehensive plan is. Then the council gets to decide whether or not they want to adopt that plan or not.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at the cycle. You say yes to the plan, you fund us. Now we're at this point where we're almost done and you want to terminate the contract and then we see no plan. Or you say yes to the plan, we get it done and you don't adopt it. Either way, we are at the risk of losing momentum and losing the care, zeal, fervor, energy, effort of residents that we've engaged in the city. And to me, that's not worth it.
No.
Whether you believed we engaged 20,000 people or we engaged 10,000, throwing it away is not worth it to me. It is not worth losing that care and concern and sympathy and empathy for how this city grows. It's not worth it.
Because all of this, all of what we can even do as a city is backed by the confidence of the people. And we all know the United States, period, is having social trust issues. There are many, many social trust issues in the United States. So, why are we committed to making Pittsburgh yet another beacon of social distrust in our nation? Residents from all 90 neighborhoods have participated in this plan. Why would we cancel it when we are 2/3 of the way done? When we have had thousands of community members come out to participate, give their voice, give their ideas, hope for something better. This isn't the time. And it's difficult for me to come to grips with the fact that we have folks in office who don't see that this is the time and don't see that single mothers, elderly, um, disabled folks,
Queer
minorities, queer folks, we've touched all the bases. We've touched all the bases. We've gotten everybody involved. These are your constituents. These are the people that you care for. So come to the table, compromise, participate before we risk losing the trust of the people who came to the table.
PGH2050.com. Please become an advocate of the comprehensive plan. This is not just, notice we haven't said anything about us being paid or doing the work, because we really are really just these conduits to helping voices get to the comp plan.
Mm-hmm.
Council wants to terminate the contract for the city of Pittsburgh's comprehensive plan. And I just don't know. I don't know if that will hold up in the long term for where we want to see Pittsburgh go and how we want to see people engage with the city.
Mm-hmm.
I think canceling or pausing this work sends a message
Absolutely.
uh, to about not
Absolutely.
just marginalized communities, but to everyone's input who was in this. I don't think a plan can have a future without the voices of the people who live there.
Mm-hmm.
I think now more than ever, we need to see consistent leadership that honors commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is okay in a nation right now that feels like it's dishonoring all of what we feel like are our American values. To me,
Right.
I don't know how y'all feel, but to me,
And what a beautiful time to be the voice that is honoring that, right? So just flipping it from a strength based perspective, like we did what we were supposed to do. Like we showed up for our community. We went into the community. I myself did it scared and still did it anyway. We've embodied the trust that needs to happen in our community. We've embodied the leadership that needs to happen in our community. We've done that. And it really is at this point, it's up to our leaders. It is up to our local leaders to decide that the voices of 25,000 Pittsburghers actually count for something. It's up to them. And I really hope that if you're watching this video, if you've been following the comprehensive plan, that you remember that we are we are entrusting these people with our livelihoods, with our families, with our children, with our grandmothers, with our parents. And it is important that when our leaders show us that they don't value our voices, our input, our ideas, our perceptions of how our community is supposed to run, that we let them know that we know and that we see.
mm,
So, whether you're coming out for public comment, whether you are sending an email to your council person, whether you are going to their office and knocking on the door, it is vital that we let them know, even if it's your next door neighbor that you don't like, their voice deserves to be counted. Because when their voice is counted, your voice is counted. So that when you show up in the room, it shows precedence that you know your community is valuable. And I think that is what is at the core of this issue, is who gets to be in the room and whose voice is important.
mm.
And why is it that some community members in Pittsburgh's voices have less value than others? And I don't know if that doesn't get you to take action, then I just don't know what will. And if that doesn't lead our leaders to take action,
PGH2050.com. If you are joining us, council is seeking to terminate the contract for the comprehensive plan. We are about 8 months away from completing our work. And the goalpost is not just being moved again, it is trying to be ripped entirely from the ground. Muffy and I will be here every Tuesday at 12 to talk about the comp plan. What can you do? Email your council folks.
mm-hmm.
If you've been a part of the comprehensive plan, if you're someone that just likes to see things get done, if you're someone that's let's get to the end, and then we can be very hypercritical about what they did and didn't do. If you're someone who believes that city voices control what happens in the city, call, leave a message, send an email, visit our website at pgh2050.com and show up in support of the plan. Our goal is to help make a set of recommendations based on the voices of engagement that we heard
Mm-hmm.
that'll lead Pittsburgh into a brighter future for all Pittsburghers. I'm not sure how often we're all going to have the conversation that Pittsburgh is not a livable city.
Hmm.
How long do y'all want to have that conversation?
Not long. I'd like it to be livable tomorrow.
So I I'm just seeing all these Facebook comments. My bad, y'all. But I just want to say, keep an eye out. Watch your council meetings every Tuesday at 10. Watch that post agenda from November 10th. It is 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can watch while you're doing a little cook, while you're driving in from work, while you're trying to go through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. Listen to that post agenda hearing. And I want y'all to determine for yourselves what you hear.
Right.
Because that post agenda hearing was supposed to be very informative about the comp plan, and it felt more like a nitpicking session that I don't think benefited anybody. We're not just asking you to save our jobs.
Mm-mm. I got jobs. I'm just I got jobs. Jobs.
We're begging you to believe that Pittsburgh can be a livable city for all people. And I think there are so many people that believe that it hurts their soul that it's not. So reach out to your council folks. Reach out to all the council folks. Send an email, make a phone call, PGH2050.com. We have to keep the comprehensive plan going, at least until we get to the end. At least until we get to the end. We got 8 months. 2 months is already gone if you're considering the end of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's it.
That's all.
I think that's all. I thank you so much for joining us here today. I think our hope here is that council will take time to fully understand the scope of this work,
Mm-hmm.
to meet the people who have poured their voices into it, and recognize the significance of this because this is close to completion. The community has shown up. The community has shown up. The community has shown up. The city asked for their input. It is important that we honor these commitments and maintain the trust that we've built because the community has shown up. Muffy, as usual, you give me life. Thank you so much for this very vulnerable conversation. And thank you for keeping hope alive.
Thank you, sis. You are appreciated.
I appreciate you.
Tuesday.
See y'all next Tuesday.
Peace.
All right, Facebook. Send your emails, call your council folks, save the comp plan, trust the community, protect Black women, protect Black people, and amplify Black voices.